G'day guys, James and Ant here, Labour and Wood. So this week we're going to have a chat to James about moisture content in the clefts for our cricket bat law series. Jim, different moisture contents in the clefts, obviously that changes the density of the cleft and what the bat will end up being like in size and performance. Can you give us your insights?
I mean, obviously moisture content is a very big part of bat making, and because we're working with timber, and timber has to be about right for you to be able to work with it. Now, moisture content is not about the density either.
It's a different thing. Separate.
Yeah, density is about the solid matter that you've got in the timber there, whereas moisture content is something that you can actually get rid of. You know, you can dry it out and reduce the moisture in the blade. So that
doesn't actually reduce the density of
the timber.
No,
the density is slightly different, in that sense. So, you know, you might find you've got a really dense, heavy bit of timber. You can dry that out and dry that out, but you'll only ever lose so much, and it'll still be a heavy bit of timber.
Interesting.
So it doesn't always, you know, just drying out a piece of timber doesn't just drop the weight considerably. So it depends on what timber you're working with. So effectively, moisture content, I mean, most pieces of wood that we'll work with, we'll look at say between 10 and 15% moisture content. We'll usually have it in our, we have a drying cupboard that we use, and we'll try and keep the timber in there for a good few weeks before we make it, just to stabilise it. Because when you manufacture the bats, and when we press the bats, we saturate them with water, and so you know it takes on the moisture again. So you've got to get that out and then just regulate that before you actually finish making it.
What's the reason for putting the water through the face of the bat when we press it?
Well, the reason for that is that if you press it dry, everything just starts to come apart. There's nothing really holding those fibres together, and the water helps everything to stretch and hold together. Because you're putting considerable force in with the press, and
so it helps the elasticity of the cells.
It does, exactly. Yes, that's right. And so then we want to get, after that process, we want to get that moisture content back down to around about that 15, between 10 and 15%, maybe 12, 13%, something anywhere around there is ideal, because then it works when you're making it. If you've got a very high moisture content in the bat, you know, pushing 20 or more, it's really hard to make the bat as well. The tools don't cut the timber very well. It's really hard on your body. You know, everything's just not working so well. So you want it. I mean, the drier it is, the easier it is to make. But you don't want it too dry, because then you lose the structure and the strength in the timber.
And the bat will be very brittle.
Well, yeah. You want that moisture to hold the bat together effectively.
So which, you know, logically brings us on to super drying bats.
Yeah, and that's why you see a lot of those super dry bats, they just don't last. They delaminate, they fall apart, or they just snap, or whatever. Snapping tends to be more storm damage type scenarios, but you also do get a lot of breakage and
outright delamination. Edges falling.
Delamination is the biggest one, and then a lot of toe damage. There's just nothing really holding the bat together, and so that's it.
And that's really fascinating. I learned a lot. So that's moisture content, guys.
Something a bit different.